Hello everyone, it's James from Keeping It Anime, and today let's talk about episode 37 of Bungo Stray Dogs, entitled Echo. Now, I'm not quite sure about the title and the naming of it, but if I had to kind of have a guess, I would probably say it's kind of like the echo of power, or the echo of just how well Atashi and Octogawa work together. You know, it's kind of echoing out in volumes, something weird like that. I don't know. But honestly, that aside, this was quite possibly one of my favourite episodes from the franchise of Bungo Stray Dogs to date. The animation throughout this episode was brilliant. The choreography and the reveals in this episode were pretty awesome, and the music was perfect in each scene that it went with. So let's talk about the actual episode itself. So, episode 37. We start off with Octogawa and Atashi basically going after the virus user, in where we witness Octogawa riding the were-tiger. And this is something new that we haven't actually seen, and is somewhat joked at towards later on in the episode, and does have a few kind of comedic moments throughout this scene. You know, Octogawa saying, "You're an uncomfy ride," you move too slow, with Atsushi basically saying, "You're getting a free ride, don't complain." You know, the classical banter that these two have, we know they don't like each other. They're rivals. They're from opposing sort of groups. However, in this episode, they show that they can work together brilliantly. And we've known that from season 2, but this episode highlights that to the fullest. So the main bulk of this episode is the fight between Ivan and our two main rivals. So Ivan is a earth manipulator, which means because they're in the mines, everything around them is basically trouble for our two characters. And overall, this fight was fantastic. So we get to witness more combinations and attacks from Atsushi and Octogawa. For example, we see Atsushi jumping from thread to thread that Octogawa has created using Rashomon in order to avoid touching the ground in an attempt to get closer to Ivan to land a decisive blow. But even this proves useless, and eventually the two start drowning thanks to Ivan's ability. And this is where the episode kind of gets really interesting. Like, more interesting. Because Octogawa asks again to Atsushi, "Why are you fighting?" And it turns out that the were-tiger fights to escape his childhood memories, and to earn the right to live. Because as we all know, Atsushi is a character that's been tortured and tormented within the orphanage from a very young age. So his mindset is very kind of, it's damaged almost. And Octogawa is kind of confused and because he states that your former master died. But from Atsushi's perspective, or Atsushi's perspective, however you pronounce his name, he still lives within his head, repeating the cursed words that have haunted him all of his life, basically. Now, the fact that makes this scene so much more impactful and the words so much more meaningful is the fact that we see a vision of Atsushi's previous master, the guy who ran the orphanage, standing behind Octogawa. And the music that is being played currently in this scene makes the words, it adds more impact to the overall feel and the overall vibe. It doesn't give a scary kind of feeling, but it's a bit of a spooky one. And when you look at this from a mentality perspective, from Atsushi's character, then, it does open up a lot of doors and raises a lot of flags. But we all know Atsushi's character and what he comes with. And one line from Octogawa that I really did like after this was, if I'm a wretched dog, which we've heard Octogawa being called that a lot, then you're a wandering dog. And somewhat, this is true for Atsushi's character. Because him as a character, he feels that in himself, he hasn't yet got a real purpose, except to escape his past and to help others. So in that sense, he is still wandering, because he's going from place to place hoping that one day he'll be able to escape what was, you know, his past. So that line really did hit home and kind of did highlight Atsushi's character pretty well. And it's a good line, nevertheless, from Akutagawa. But the real hype moment, the climactic bit of this episode happens. The fusion of the were-tiger and Rashomon. Atsushi is given Akutagawa's coat and basically the Rashomon ability for a short period of time, mixed with his own. This is in order to be Ivan. Now, what makes this scene really cool is not only the visuals and the design, but also the music is brilliant, the sound effects are fantastic, but more importantly for me, the voice acting. So, we've seen these two work together before, like I said, at the end of Season 2, when they fought Francis, but this was next level in terms of awesomeness and epicness. Like I said, the music, the animation, the whole flow of this scene was fantastic. I can't find too big of a fault with it. I especially loved the attack chant, which, if you bear with me 1 second, you'll be able to hear it in just a minute, but basically it is, Beast Deeth in the Moonlight, Rashomon, Kakyo, or Katio, Zetsu? Anyway, listen to this. Right, now, the fact that I bring this up and the voice acting in this scene is because if you listen to that, you can really hear the emotion and the kind of feeling put into the acting, and it was very well and clearly brought through in terms of the voice acting for both Akutagawa's character and Atsushi's character. So overall, this whole combination in this whole battle, for me, I really did love it, and it was one of my favourite battles so far within this season. Next, a little bit of light-hearted comedy, where we find the virus user captured by Mori and Furukawa, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and other members of both groups. I especially like the facial expression of the faces of the group members when being denied the luxury of beating up this virus user for putting them through hell, but instead the two bosses, rightly so, do it anyway. But then guys, right when you think the brilliant storytelling is over, it doesn't stop there. It turns out that Fredor, the demon, was never actually there. In fact, thanks to camera angles, it turns out he was in a cafe, and the communication was done through music, and that's how orders were given, using secret codes and languages. So again, in this scene we have some brilliant music. Animation is very nice, and it has a creepy kind of feel to this kind of scene, because we see Fredor leaving, thinking that he's won. You know, he states himself that, you know, they weren't as bad as I thought they were. My next move should be able to finish him off completely. And as he's walking away, this music acts like he's triumphant, but then creepy and eerie at the same time. I loved it. However, after the sinister vibe, another brilliant twist happens and Dazai shows up, leading to a very shocked demon. Now, Fredor has never been seen to be this shocked before within the series, and I loved it. I like Fredor as a villain, I like Dazai as a character. And, you know, the fact that we also get another amazing character in my opinion, because the guy who helps Dazai out is none other than Francis. God's Eye, anybody? That whole episode about the guild being reformed and Francis trying to get the God's Eye? This is why. And that's how they found the demon Fredor. And, you know, and then he's taken away by the Gift Squad, or whatever they're called. You know, this guy's team. However, this scene does leave us with one very, very interesting question. What is Fredor's ability? I have no idea. If I had to guess, I would say it's something similar to... Maybe it's something similar to, like, Yukino's ability? Is it Yukino? You know, thou shall not die. Maybe it's thou shall not live. Maybe it's something like that, because we see that whoever touches Freydor ends up dying. Maybe? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on his ability down in the comment section below. I'll be interested to see what you guys think. And finally, the outro hits, which I love the outro in this season. It's brilliant. Lucky Day or Lucky Life. Brilliant sort of music. And we get some good comedy and information from this ending. Because it's the end of the series, we have the scenes in the ending while the music's playing. The outro. So first of all, Rampo's back. Brilliant. Chuya is still in the novel, as he started to attack the killers instead of solving the crimes. Okay, classic Chuya. But the other thing I really did like is the fact that everyone's outfits and their designs for the Armed Detective Agency with this party that's going on. I absolutely love their designs. Brilliant, classic, and smart. Fitting for their characters. But it's just the overall design and animation of it I really did enjoy. But the main thing to take away from this would be the fact that we should be getting a rematch between Akutagawa and Atsushi. However, Atsushi basically says that Akutagawa can fight him again in 6 months' time, within the show's time, but he has to follow some conditions. Condition number 1 is no killing for 6 months, because in not killing anybody, Akutagawa could possibly learn a few things. And a few other things as mentioned, but this is the most important thing. And while this is all happening, we see Atsushi and Dazai talking outside, and this is all very reminiscent of Dazai's friend, who died at the beginning of Season 2, and who wouldn't kill, despite being part of the Port Mafia. Plus, Dazai is looking at the lighter that guy gave him, and saying, oh wow, a Port Mafia member that doesn't kill. And you know what? I really did like that. That really does kind of bring full circle for that character. Because honestly, at the start of Season 2, when seeing about this character and learning about Dazai's past in the Port Mafia, apart from Dazai's point of view, I didn't really find much value in it. So, I like the fact that they're now kind of bringing that back up and slowly coming back to terms with it. So then, that is pretty much everything that happens within this episode. I might have missed out a couple of things, but these are the most important things that have happened. And honestly, guys, if you haven't seen this episode, or girls, if you haven't seen it, make sure to go watch it. It's brilliant. Like I said, all the music, all the animation, all the voice acting, all the sound effects, the flow and choreography of all the fights and how it was all laid out, beautifully done, and a perfect way to wrap up the season of this series. So I want to hear from you guys what you thought of this episode. Did you enjoy it? Again, what do you think Freydor's ability is? Let me know all your answers down in the comment section below. And if anything that I've said that you don't agree with, then why not let me know? And, you know, we can have a discussion down in the comment section. But apart from that, guys, I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me, because I'll be talking a few things about what we might be able to expect from Bungo Stray Dogs in a new season when we finally get one. Like, for example, what are the guild going to be doing? We have not heard anything else about the guild, and it would be kind of cool to see where that goes in terms of direction. Again, I might be wrong. This might not be a season finale, but it certainly felt like it. I know that in Season 1, they kind of had the season finale of Akutagawa and Itachi fighting, and then they had a few sort of like filler episodes afterwards. They might do that this time. I don't know. But yeah, apart from that, guys, I hope you all have an amazing day, and, well, keep it anime. I'll catch you all later. Goodbye.